Hey, peace, God. How you feeling?
Peace. Peace, Almighty. I'm
I'm doing
good. How
well.
you doing?
Excellent. Pleasure to have this opportunity to build with you. I'm gonna just get right into it. That video, I didn't know that was you. I didn't even know that the person that I was speaking in that video was someone that I could actually connect with. Like, I didn't know what that was. I just seen it, and the words resonated with me so much. And I had to repost that. But the
Oh,
reason it resonated with me specifically, I have to tell you, is because someone on the internet was like, "What's today's mathematics, son?" SUN with the question mark, and then I only answered them from my essence, from my soul, from who I truly feel I am, from my heart. Like I've never claimed to be God body in terms of being part of the school of thought, the system of the 5% nation of gods and earth. Like I grew up in '86, maybe not '76, if that makes sense. So it might be before my era a little bit, but I never want to come across as somebody who's like utilizing knowledge for anything other than to uplift. You get where I'm going with this? So when
true
I
indeed.
heard you speak, I just
Yeah.
definitely had to repost that because I just had a conversation prior to that with someone who was like not, who was basically, I guess, exposing me to not be a true and living God. And I'm like, yo, my experiences show me that I'm God. I've embarked on this journey and I was so many things, but I always had to come back to the fact that I am God, you know? So I would love to hear from somebody like
Mhm.
yourself to to just impart that wisdom upon me so I can know what is it that I need to know when someone asks me what's today's mathematics. What is it that I need to know within myself to feel comfortable answering someone when they ask me what's today's mathematics? And is there a correct answer for that? Is there a specific way that should be responded to? Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm over here, I feel conflicted and torn, brother, because I'm out here trying to do the righteous thing for my family. I'm telling my people we gods. And I still get people telling me, man, what's today's mathematics? You don't know the knowledge, like, you know? So I definitely want to build with someone like yourself to
Yeah.
even begin to tap into the knowledge if I could, you know?
Wow. Peace, dude. Yo, I appreciate you even sharing that. One of my brothers, that his name's Divine, he's actually in Texas, and he's the one that shared it
Okay.
with me, and that's how I even saw that you initially
Right.
shared it. First and foremost, I think it's important to understand that as the 5%, we don't have a trademark on the concept of the original man or original people being God. That's something that we taught before time. And when you look at just our people chronologically, from millions of years all the way to present day, always had various different aspects of that sense of our supreme force and power, our sense of
Right.
divinity. As 5%, we have our own formal way of teaching that amongst our citizenry, but it doesn't exclude or it doesn't mean that other people in the world may have not developed their own sense of divinity or their own concept of self. So that's one of the first things that's important to understand. Like, we don't trademark
Right.
the concept of the black man being
Exactly.
God. You know what I'm saying? Um, Now, when you're talking about it in a formal sense, we have a very structured way that we go about teaching that and learning it. So the brothers that you come in contact with were striving to hold you to a formal
Exactly.
standard when you were striving to communicate to them that that's not the formal standard that I subscribe to. I inherently and naturally understand my divinity,
Exactly.
which is important and which is
Exactly.
peace, you know? So in terms of just today's mathematics, that is just a part of how we formally communicate with one another in terms of our perspective of
Mm.
God. And it's like my whole name is Saladin Quinaya Allah. My middle name Quinaya, I got my indigenous ancestry here in North America, and that is to pay homage also to the customs and traditions of my indigenous people here. And those customs and traditions are
Okay.
shamanism. So when you look at shamanism, shamanism is a very natural connection to our sense of divinity. It's not supreme mathematics, like on paper or something like that, or it's not something that's taught in that formal sense. It's more of a natural way of life in terms of recognizing our divinity that's innate. So I added that name on as a part of paying homage to that aspect of the science of life that we practice not only here in North America, but throughout the planet. So the unique thing about this perspective of life is that Allah, the Father who founded the 5% Nation with early members, created a unique way of sharing this perspective with the world. And that's what we really claim as naturally our own. No one on the planet came up with a concept of supreme mathematics or supreme alphabet. It was Allah that came up with that specifically. The 120 lessons that we use were derived from the Supreme Wisdom book that was created in the 1930s with Master Farad Muhammad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Those lessons are contained within that Supreme Wisdom book. And then when Allah was a Muslim, Nation of Islam, he left that religion, created the culture of the 5%, and naturally those 120 lessons that he learned in his experience and journey in that religion and in the Nation of Islam, he also taught to the youth that were of the 5% Nation. It's a youth orientated or youth advocacy movement, and that's what's unique about us.
What is it that you have going on in Niagara Falls? Is that your school? Are you a teacher at a school? What is that?
So right now I work with a school district, the Niagara Falls School District. So I'm a 6th grade teacher. My background is early childhood development. So I taught pre-K for the last 4 years. For the last 20-something years, I've been doing youth advocacy and community outreach, doing a variety of different projects, programs, and initiatives, from providers program to so many things. It's just too much time to mention. So over the years, within the last couple of years, I was able to acquire an estate that I purchased, and I'm right now in the process of renovating it into an early childhood learning center and after school program. And it is known as the Atlantic School for Gifted Youngsters. So it's the central location of all of my project programs and initiatives. And I've been doing it step by step. It's not a property that I'm paying a mortgage on or anything like that. I literally own the property, and all of the money that I invest in teaching, I do an after school program. I've written 19 books, so through my book sales, I put that money directly into my renovation project. Just last week, purchased some glass block windows for my basement for my school, because like I said, step by step, I'm investing in renovating it as an early childhood learning center, and then also modeling that so that others can see the possibility of being able to create an institution like this that's private, that's free, and that you don't have to depend upon others or outsiders to dictate what it is that you're striving to do.
That's amazing.
So my Instagram page is dedicated primarily to my Atlantic School for Gifted Youngsters, and then I oftentimes share various different project programs and initiatives that are directly related to that.
That's amazing. That's commendable. And I just want to say that I'm proud of myself, of you being an aspect of me for doing that work that you're doing, brother. That's commendable. And I see that you've dedicated your life to your work. You know what I'm saying? I'm honored to even be having this build with you, honestly. I think that's commendable what you're doing, and I honor men like yourself in my reality, because I don't really come across brothers like yourself in my reality. I have to connect with brothers like yourself and network with you online. So I'm just honored to be having this conversation, and that's beautiful. And as far as like what the information you was giving me, as far as like the supreme mathematics, the supreme alphabet, and the 21 lessons, like, can you tap into their belief in terms of the family? Like, what is the supreme mathematics? What is the supreme alphabet? What are the lessons? And what do we see ourselves? Our woman is our earth and the man is God? Or is it the man and the woman make God? Like, I want you to just briefly break that down. And I don't want to take up too much of your time, brother, but I do want to allow you to continue to just drop some jewels on me.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, so first and foremost, this is a culture, so it's impossible to explain a culture in this kind of format. It's something that you live, and in order for you to even live it, you have to take an anthropological approach. You have to immerse yourself in the culture and live it, because in living it, that's when you discover the principles as well as the values. I've been living this culture for 25 years right now, and there's things that I still learn every day and grow about these principles and these values, you know. So that's first and foremost. You know, it's unreasonable to expect to explain an entire way of life in this kind of format. And even if you're walking with somebody and you've been around somebody for years, it's still maybe elements of that culture that you don't really fully understand, you know. In terms of a belief system, because the culture is based on mathematics, meaning mathematics is the operating system of the universe, everything around us is based upon mathematics. Mathematics does not require belief. It is what it is, right? So because this is a culture, it's not based upon belief. So the things that we talk about and we teach in relationship to principles and values, a person's belief in that does not validate or invalidate what it is. It's just like gravity. It doesn't matter if a person believes it or not.
They're affected by it.
It is what it is, regardless if you call it gravity. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, our culture or our way of life is rooted in critical thinking, not belief. And it entrusts a person with the ability to make decisions on their own, meaning we encourage people to follow to the extent of learning to lead themselves. So there's no hierarchy in this culture. It doesn't matter if I've learned this for 25 years and somebody just started learning about it yesterday. My perspective is no more valuable than theirs. We all have equal value in our perspectives, and that's one reason why it's a 5%. We build in a cipher. That 360 degrees ensures that everyone has an equal perspective of not only what they see, but also in terms of input in that cipher. There's no one above and below.
Absolutely.
You know? So there's various different things that we teach that ensures that there's an equal opportunity and an equal investment in being a part of this culture.
Gotcha.
And it's not a hierarchy. There's no one above or below, no one better or more important than anyone else. And the goal is to ensure that everyone has the same access, the same knowledge, access to that wisdom through that knowledge, and can share a common understanding in terms of how we live as a people in order to help make sure that we're sustainable, that we're healthy, and that we can be here to create the type of legacy where our children will become the adult that we would like this world's hands to be.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so it's a way of life, and it's not based on belief. It's not a religion. It's not any of those things, and it's not to knock people who have a belief or religion. We just critically analyze life, and if, you know, for example, today is the 18th. So 1 is knowledge, and 8 is build or destroy. So we strive to become aware, because that's what knowledge is. We strive to become aware of things that empowers us to properly construct or to build things that are positive in our life, and to destroy or deconstruct things that are negative in our life.
Definitely.
You know, so when we say today's mathematics, you know, the date corresponds to certain principles that we subscribe to. And instead of waking up in the morning, you know, singing a Little Wayne song, or, you know, doing something else, we more meditate or consider these principles in life. So when I woke up this morning of being the 18th, I'm thinking about knowledge. I'm thinking about build or destroy, how I can navigate life so that I can get the most out of it and be a better example to people in my environment based upon those principles of knowledge as well as build or destroy. And then if you look at it in terms of the alphabet, the 18th letter is R, which is rule or ruler. So that's something else that I started to consider just waking up this morning in terms of what's important in terms of governing your life with authority, because that's what a
Right.
ruler is, one that governs with authority. And what should I use to govern with authority righteously? So these are, you orientate yourself psychologically so that once you engage the social space, you have the right mindset and you're in the proper sense of space to add a contribution to this world, as opposed to just going into spaces and not being right or thinking about what you can contribute. It goes back to what I said about build or
Right.
destroy. How can I build myself up to be a better contributor to this world and not just go into these spaces or into this world striving to take stuff away?
Yeah, that's
know?
peace.
And like I said, those principles, we don't own
Right.
these principles. These are natural principles of life. We just identified them, and we also structured them, and we share them with one another so that we can restore not only our humanity, but our sense of divinity that we established as the fathers and the mothers of civilization.
Absolutely. That was beautifully put.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's not something I can just tell you about. It's something you have to be. You have to live. And these are universal principles. These are
Yeah.
the laws of the cosmos. We just find a way to like structure them and implement them in our life and live a righteous, upright life through these principles. So I kind of have a greater perspective and understanding of what it means
Yeah.
to build with a God. When someone says, "What's today's mathematics?" There's a whole science behind that, and I'm glad to know that. Like it's
Mhm.
deeper than I. Becca, Bing, come here, baby. Come here. Come here, baby. Bing. It's all right. You're all right, man. That's real,
Yeah.
bro. I really appreciate
How
your
how
time.
old is your
She's
baby?
doing,
G?
she's doing well. She's a
How old
year
is
and
your
some
baby?
change. She just turned the year September 5th.
Good,
Yeah, she's
good.
doing well. Getting
Good.
stronger, growing teeth.
Yeah.
Word. So that's another
Hmm.
aspect of my life through experience that helped me come to the realization that ye are gods. Like, ye are gods. Like, the divine feminine is the only way into this physical form. She's like a galactic portal. Do we not see that? You know what I mean? And us, as masculine aspect of the divine feminine, we have an equal, if not just as important role in that creation process. So how are we not gods? You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at with it. And I'm entitled to that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To know that, to feel that. But I'm not holding anyone to my school of thought or my ideology or my way of seeing things either, you know?
Yeah. It's like we need each other. We need each other. And that balance is necessary because that balance allows us to have the homeostasis and harmony to continue the longevity, the lineage, and the lifeline of our people. We need each other. No one's more important than anyone else. And that's sometimes where people get it wrong, where they think that, the man is more important than the woman or the woman is more important than the man. If you really want to come down to it, who's sitting right in front of you is the most important. That's one reason why we say that the babies are the greatest, because they are evidence of that divine intelligence.
Wow.
Are the manifestation of creation, because they are the highest form of what we call understanding.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? So that's necessary. And regardless of anything that I'm saying, it doesn't mean anything if I'm not living that out.
Right.
And if I'm not sharing that and modeling what it is that I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the best thing about
There's
having
too
the
many
divine
of us.
knowledge of oneself is applying that. Yeah. That's a fact, bro.
Hmm.
I agree.
Yeah, when I first even got on social media some years back, I started out in like the late 90s early 2000s, writing articles for different publications, building about concepts such as this in the UK and in other different publications around the country. And once social media was created, I started to create platforms, but I wanted to make sure that the platforms I create coincide with what I'm actually doing. So if you go back 10 years and see the videos that I'm sharing, I'm showing you what I'm actually doing in my community or in other different communities. I'm showing you evidence of that because I realized even back then that integrity is important because people are going to use these type of platforms to create avatars and create these false representations of what they're not. And I wanted to make sure that there was consistency, you know, so just like I'm here right now in my classroom.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna be on here talking about I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, and you never see no evidence in the classroom of what I'm actually doing. You know what I'm saying? So that's important because it's evidence to support your claim. Whatever it is we want to claim about ourselves, but if you have no evidence to support that claim, what are you actually teaching? Especially to our youth, because they're going to be learning to be fake if that's what we out here doing.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's also one of the things that I appreciate about my culture as a 5%, because there's really no way to fake it. You know what I'm saying? Like, a person can sit there and try to razzle dazzle you about the mathematics and say, yeah, you know, knowledge will destroy is born, that they could do all of that. But once we get into some of the more core teaching or like our lessons, if I ask a person, yo, so what's the knowledge build degree or what's the 18th degree? And they telling me that they're a 5%er and they had knowledge for so many years and all this other stuff. And I ask them, okay, what's the 18th degree? And they start sounding like Porky Pig. Now I know that they front. That's one way of seeing that they are not who they say they are. At the same time, there may be somebody, if I ask them what's the knowledge build degree, and they may say, what is the duty of a civilized person? The duty of a civilized person is to teach he who is savage civilization, righteousness, knowledge of himself, the science of everything in life, love, peace, and happiness. They may be able to quote that, but then what's your understanding of that? How do you apply that practically to your life? They may not be able to share no understanding of it. So then that's also questionable. So we have various different ways that we screen one another as well as support one another in terms of what this culture is actually about, because we are representatives or beacons of light of this divinity. And if we are holding ourselves to that high standard of supreme intelligence, force, and power, then we have to be the best at everything that we say that we're striving to be the best at, including if I'm sitting here making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I better do that to the best of my ability, because I'm subscribing to a concept that I'm supreme force and power. So I don't have no sense of being mediocre or accepting anything less of myself at all.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
That goes back to being integrity, having integrity. Yeah. I didn't mean to...
Yeah, and that's different than being a perfectionist.
Break that down.
That's different than being a perfectionist. You know what I'm saying?
What's the difference?
Well, a perfectionist, that's more of a Western concept. And a lot of that is rooted in gross materialism and individuality. It's not taught from the perspective of holistic health or optimum health, or it's not taught from an interpersonal perspective. If a person is a perfectionist, they just care about what they're doing. It's individualistic. What I'm talking about is recognizing that you're supreme force and power and that your nature is perfect. And you should expect a lot and the best of yourself, not personally, but because you have a direct impact in the lives of others as well as a steward of this environment. So you do your best for others and for this world.
Not just you,
Yeah, it ain't about you. And
that's community. That's community. That's nation building. Wow.
And you look at that Western concept, that concept of God in a Western context is about you serving God. You look at it in more of our tradition and custom, it's more about God being the servant of the world. So if you're aspiring to be that supreme force and power, it's really about you being a servant. You taking care of this world, not expecting the world to take care of you. You're infinite potential. You're omnipresent, omnipotent, and omnipotent. What you need people to serve you for. That's a Western concept. You know, we are stewards and we are caretakers of this world. So in terms of taking on that idea of being supreme force and power, it's about us serving others. How can we be of service to others? How can we help others aspire to greatness?
Yeah, now that's God shit.
You know?
Exactly. You would want to be the greatest servant, not to be served. Exactly.
Exactly. Because if you are who you say you are, why people need to serve you? You already got everything. So you don't need anything. You know? So the more that we grow in this, we realize that the things that we're willing and able to do for others is things that they can never pay us back for. They can never pay us back for because we have everything that we need. You know what I'm saying?
So
that's why we say you have the possibility of loving those without accepting anything in return. Because you are who you say that you are. What could you give God? What could you give the earth?
Run it up.
Yeah. So that was those, you know, and things that I'm sharing, G. I've been walking this path for 25 years. Maybe 5 years in, I wasn't thinking about nothing like this. I may have had other ideas, but this is a constant, never-ending inner journey of growth and development, and you're constantly learning things every single day because you're constantly aspiring and striving to that standard of perfection that is your nature. You're constantly nurturing that, like what I was saying in the video. You're constantly invested in that. One thing to encourage people to do is this growth and development is incremental. It's incremental, meaning every day you should learn something new. I don't care what. It could be, I found out that this is a food bank in the city that provides, you know, food or other resources for people in my community. It could be something as practical as that you've learned today. But you should learn something each and every day because that's evidence of your growth and development. Sometimes people kind of float and go through life without marking their growth and development or even celebrating that. But every single day, we should not go to bed without being able to reflect upon what did I learn new today. Because that's not only evidence of growth, but it's also evidence that you lived that day. You lived. You were present.
You were here. Yeah.
You weren't just worried about and caught up about the past or feeling angst or anxiety about the future, but you were present that
day. That's perfection. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's peace.
But yeah, G, so you know we gotta do this. We gotta do this more often. Where are you at right now?
Florida right
Where
now.
you located?
Yeah, I'm from up north though. I'm from New York, Bronx, New York, Washington Heights area. So.
Okay.
You up there by Niagara Falls?
Yeah, I'm literally. Yeah, I'm Western New York. So I'm literally on the Canadian border.
That's what it is, brother. It was a pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure building with you. And we definitely gonna do this again.
Likewise.
Anytime you have any wisdom that you know could enlighten a brother, send it my way. Don't be shy, man. And I'm gonna keep watching you. I'm gonna keep track of your progress and what you're doing for the youth. And I'm gonna continue to allow you to inspire me. You will be considered one of my mentors moving forward. So I just want to say thank you for your time, for your wisdom. And till
Yeah.
next time, my brother. Peace to the God, man.
And that's likewise. You are me, you know, and what you see or perceive as wisdom is coming through me. It's something that I've learned from others of all ages, of all times, and of all places. So it's not mine individually or personally. It's something that I'm just striving to amplify as a message and a voice that have come from my ancestors and from my present day ancestors that living right now.
It's real, and I'm honored for that. Word.
Okay.
All right.
And then also, last thing, you have younger children. So I have an animation series that I've created, and that's specifically for youth. So if you go through my page, or if you look at my link in my bio, I have a link to my animation series, and that also gives you an opportunity to impart some of the things that I've learned with the younger people as well.
Absolutely. I'm honored. I'm thankful. I can't wait to look for that. The children, they're going to be, because as soon as I put something on the TV for them, they glued to it anyway. So why not it be something that's going to uplift, you know what I'm saying, the youth. So I'm thankful and I'm honored for you, bro.
Absolutely.
Peace.
I appreciate you too, G. All right, God.
Peace.
Peace.
That was beautiful. That was nourishment for me. I needed that. I needed that. Because I might not be a 5% God. I'm not from the nation of the gods and earths. I don't know all the supreme intelligence. But I know that we are divine, godly light beings. We supreme beings ourselves. We were born into perfection. And we had to be, all of the wisdom that we came with from the cosmos had to be pushed out of us to be indoctrinated into what that system is. We should be expressing God. We should be teaching the youth God. That should be the expression, you know what I'm saying? So it was definitely a pleasure to build with the God. You know, hopefully this won't be the last time. And I'm going to share any wisdom I get from anyone that's able to enlighten me and take my mind to a further place. I'm going to definitely share that with y'all. So I'm honored. And everybody in the room, everybody in the live, in the build, I acknowledge you all. I'm thankful. Zoe Turner, Messiah Divine, Wise Understanding, Divine Understanding, DJ Mellow, Somebody Random, Caballero Early, Dynamic Queen, DJ Obese, what's going on, God? B-Boy Supreme, Tony, Ready for R, shout out to the God, Ready for R, that's my guy. Spirit, Mela, Kitana, Reflection Q, Sabrina Pena, Chosen, Angelica, Instagram, Insta Blackgram, Baba 7, Queen Mama Jojo, everybody. I acknowledge you all. It's too many of y'all to name. Shout out to the God, the Kulu in the building. Shout out to Pretty Mean. Shout out to Solitude, Melanin, Samuel Miller, Tavius Soul. Everybody, Seek Your Truth, 88888, 1994. Shout out to the Pride, Royal Pride that is. Shout out to the Melanin Mermaid. Shout out to the Goddess Gaia. Shout out to King Josiah. Shout out to Melanin Mermaid. Shout out to the Priestess Rose. Y'all know what it is. We out here, man. And yeah, it's, you know, it's not about my ego per se. I'm giving you this wisdom because what it has done to me. Understanding what we are, what that has done to me. What are you doing? Don't play with him like that. Be respectful, baby. Don't touch him like that. Be nice. So I'm just honored to know that the universe is mathematical. The sequences throughout the cosmos go hand in hand with what we are at a physical level. Like, we are stardust. We are an accumulative version of the universal elements comprised, put together to make us. That's what we are. That's who we are. So I'm honored for that. Yeah, you haven't seen God in a minute, bro. She right here. Say peace to DJ OB. Say, hold on. Say bye. Ella está jodiendo mucho, la niña. Say peace. Say peace. Está grande, tiene dientes y toda la niña. Thank you. She got locks too. Her shit is starting to lock up. Like her little hair, it locks itself up. That's how you know we God. You leave the children, the hair alone. You don't comb it, it's gonna lock up. You know what I'm saying? Our hair locks itself. our body regenerates and heals itself when we get out of its way, when we eat the proper foods, when we put it in the proper environment. Messiah divine, that's right and exact. That's a fact, God. So yeah, when you see an OG in your life, or somebody who's an elder, or even if they're your age or younger than you, if they have wisdom, if they have something you can learn from, you should be honored for that. You don't shun them away or push them away, because knowledge is infinite and it don't belong to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge is universal, so we could tap into that. So when you see somebody who's tapped into the knowledge, you should definitely want to build with them, because that's only going to elevate you and enhance you. So y'all know what it is on this side. Till next time, peace to the gods, peace to the goddesses, peace to the children of the sun.